How's it going, YouTube? I need to do a bit of work on the MR2, don't I? I've had a lot of people asking about the V8 conversion on this. I'm having to put it on ice for now. For one, it's not something I can do in this garage. I need more space, so I'd need to sort that out. And the second thing, it's just so damn expensive. So I'm just going to sit on it for now. I've had a few spoilers on this back end. I've got the Ropey Racing wing that bolts onto there. I've taken that off for now. What I've had on most recently is this ducktail spoiler. JDL I think it is. You can't buy these anymore. But I've taken this off, as you can see. So I've taken that off. It's left some holes. We're going to cover those up. Don't worry about that. I need to clean this off somehow. We'll worry about that later. But what I've got to fit, I've bought a Subaru Impreza STI. GT wing, I think they are. I've bought one of those. This is just a cheap one that I got off the internet. It was about £180. I had to wait about a month to get it because it comes straight from China. But it's not too bad, actually. I've started doing a little bit of work on it. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Toyota do a TRD Stage 2, which sits here and it just comes up and goes round. A similar sort of style. I don't like that one for two reasons. One, this is a wide body and it's not wide enough. It comes up like virtually up there and then it's more or less straight up at this sort of width. This one, when it's on the vehicle, comes about halfway over the lights and it's in line with this joint here, so it's quite a nice width. The only problem is where the feet sit was right on this light. It's kind of like half and half on the light, half on here. So I've had to modify the feet quite a bit to get it to fit. I've started that, but I've not finished yet. If I roughly just throw that on, just to show you where it sits, that's where it comes to, that edge there, that edge there. You can see how it hugs around the lights. It's gonna look nice. But as I said, these feet were literally double the size. They came over here, this bit came straight down here and then onto the feet. I've had to cut all this out to get it round the lights. Right, so what I've done to get this to fit, underneath, you can see there, this has got some fiberglass filler where I've started to shape it a bit better. Oh, this is one of the bits I cut out. This came straight over like that to make a big flat foot that come over this way. What I've had to do is I've had to cut that out there so it goes round the lights. What I did to do that was I cut it out. I covered all this area all over in masking tape. This had a big hole here where obviously I'd cut it out. So I got a big sponge, I crammed it in the hole. Then I covered it over with fiberglass matting and fiberglass, and the sponge was pushing it out, made it all spongy. So then I fitted it to the back of the car. Because of the sponge in the gap, that was pushing against it, so it shaped the fiberglass around there. And I bolted it to the back here and just left it until it's set. This is what it left me with. It's left a nice curve there of where the light is, so this should fit nicely around the light. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to sand this back, make it all nice. I've got some P40 fiberglass reinforced filler. Once I get a shape I'm happy with, I can then move on to a little bit of P38 normal body filler just to smooth it off nicely and then primer it all up. As you can see, I've got some bolt holes there. What I might do is put a couple more over here just to get a better fix. Now the matte black actually contrasts it quite nice, so what I'm going to do is leave it black for now. I've ran out of this grey paint for now anyway, because what I do need to do is I need to repair this. This is where this was filler. I need to go and put some of that fiberglass filler in it because it's got a bit more flex, and repair that. Then I can spray that again grey, and at the same time, if I don't like this matte black, I'll spray this as well grey. But the black I'm going to use is this military dark grey paint that I got for the camper van. I've got loads of that, so I'm going to paint it in that. Right, so the next job now is I need to carry on sorting this little bit of fiberglass out on the back here and get that shaped correctly. So I'm going to get the sander out and I'm going to carry on sanding this, make it a nice curve, blend it in a bit better. Bit of the P40 just to build it up a bit, especially this bit down here. I want to make that all nice and smooth. And then a bit of finishing filler just to get it smoothed right off. So let's do that. Right, I've got a nice curve sanded in there. So what I want to do now is I want to fill this bit in, and I want to build a bit more of this up so I can get a bit better shape to it. I'm going to use that P40 with the fibreglass, this one with the fibreglass. UK weather in summer. This is what it's been like all summer. Nice, isn't it? Right, I'm going to mix up some of this and I'm going to get it in there, and we'll keep building this up to get a nice shape on it. Same with the other side as well. I've got a bit of a hole down there to fill in, so I'm going to do that now.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Right, there's a load more. Right, there's a load more of that fiberglass filler on. You can see what I've done there is I've filled in this bit here and I've flattened it off. This bit, I've got a bit of shape to it, and I've curved that bit up, and I've done that top bit again. This front side might need a bit more work where there was a hole, but we'll let this go off. Done the same the other side. I'm going to let this go off overnight, and then I'm going to come back in the morning and I'm going to flatten this back off, put a nice curve on it, and then I reckon the next job, unless I need some more work doing on that hole over there, is the normal filler. And then we can get it nice and flat and smooth then. Still raining. Lots of sanding and some more filler later. We've got this. Right, if I grab it and we'll have a look underneath. Quick tip as well, because you've noticed I've got all this tiger seal off. Use a blade to get as much as you can off. Lay it as flat as you can and just rub it along. Don't angle it up too much, else you're going to dig in. You want it really flat. Get as much as you can off. Then the rest of it, WD-40. Plastic scraper, because it won't damage your paintwork, and then I could scrape as much as I can off. WD-40 softens it up a bit, and then the last bit of it, WD-40 and a rag, that cleans the rest of it off. That's how I got that off. Right, if we have a look underneath here, as you can see, that's almost flat. It doesn't have to be perfect, because obviously this you won't see. Most of this you won't see because it's on that boot lid. There's a tiny little bit here that overlaps the boot lid, and that goes onto the light. But even so, you won't see that anyway unless it's open. What I've done there is I've flattened it off. I've got a little bit of a ridge along there, and then this bit's curved to go around the light and round the boot lid there. I've put some sharp edges back into it just so it ties in a little bit better. It's not perfect, but I'm not perfect at anything I do, to be honest. But as you can see, I've shaped it up best I can. Same with the other side as well. Curve there, step, then flat there. This is flat obviously because it goes on the boot. Right, so I'll stick it on that stand. I need to have a tidy up in here. What paint I'm using? I'm going to use this military vehicle paint. It's a matte colour, like a dark grey. As I said, the same as what's on my van. I got this from Trade Paints. If I remember, I'll put a link down below in the description of where I got this from. One thing that might horrify some people, if you've not seen this before, is we're going to roller it on, using these little rollers here. You can brush it on, roller it on, spray it on, do what you want. But on the van, that was rollered on as well. If we have a look at that, it's a bit dirty, but this is the finish you get from it. It's like a matte dark grey, slight texture in it, and this is exactly what I want. I'll do those side skirts at some point as well in the same grey. I'll use a bit of contrast on this car if I have the spoiler and the side skirts. This front splitter I'll probably do in the same grey, so it's all this matte grey. If I don't like it, I'll paint it grey the same as the car. I just need to get some more paint. So what I'll do is I'll have a tidy up here, we'll blow this off with the air, I'll get that paint out and we'll roller some on.
You're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to grey as you fade
Right, that's a coat done on this side. I'll just let that dry now. You can see where it's all nice and curved and shaped, ready to go on the car. This is how it dries off. This is just starting to dry off now. It self-levels and then just dries off into like a matte colour. It's quite nice actually. And it's really hard wearing, this stuff. There we are, that's all done. Now we need to get it on the car. That's a nice matte black finish. Oh well, like a dark grey. As you can see here, this is the hole from the ducktail spoiler. I've got another little hole in it there. This is where I had that spoiler screwed down while I was waiting for the fiberglass to go off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to screw it back down on those holes because I need to stick a bigger drill through so we can get some rivet nuts in. Right, I've got it screwed on just with a couple of screws. I've literally just put one through there, one through the other side just to hold it in place. So what I need to do now is where these screws are here, I need to mark them out. They're obviously already marked out because there's screws through them. So I'm going to mark those out, drill them out, and then I can get some of these riv nuts in. And then what I can do is I can get some of these riv nuts in here. I'll get some of these in the bottom of it, and that can be used to bolt them on. So let's get that done. Right, these riv nuts, they're exactly how they sound. It's like a little rivet with a thread in the middle. You put them on this little tool, squeeze it, and what it does is it compresses it either side of this hole here, just the same as a rivet. So it gives us a thread we can use to fasten onto. So if I get one of these in now, right, there we are, that's those in. What I do want to do though, for two reasons, is I want to put some black tiger seal or something around this bit because the bolts are right at the back, whereas you can see here there's all this area here that's not going to have any bolts on, so it could lever it off with the wind, but the tiger seal will hold that down nicely. And the other reason is because I want it nicely sealed around here where these bolts go through that lid there so it doesn't rust. Right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some of that on, then I'm going to bolt it down to that, and then we'll have a look at it. Right, there we are, that's all screwed up now. I've stuck it on as well, so that's not going anywhere. Let's put it down and have a look what it looks like. Right, and there we have it. I think that's perfectly up to the usual standard of my stuff. Good enough for now. I think what I do need to do eventually is do it the grey so it blends in a little bit better. But I think that's turned out quite well as it is actually. It suits the car, makes it look a bit longer and a bit higher at the back end. I think it definitely does need to be grey, same as the car. I'll get round to that one day. I need to buy some more grey because I've got to do that front anyway around the vents. I think that looks perfectly fine, and I think that's turned out well. I think that looks decent from the back end as well. It's not quite as wide as the car, but it also doesn't look out of place. So personally I think that's turned out quite good. It fits really nice actually. Now I've cut it around the lights, it hugs the lights, and I personally think it looks better than the Toyota one that you can get of that style. So comment below, let me know what you guys think of that. I've got no idea what the next project is. I kind of like make it up as I go along. I've got to actually change the engine on the van. I'm going to change that for a PD130 swap. I think that's the common swap off a Skoda Fabia VRS. I think it's the one I want, the ASZ engine, or Z. I'm from the UK. That's going to be my next one. It's a bit more powerful, stronger engine, because that one is completely knackered. To be honest, it's done 250,000 miles. I've changed the head gasket on it twice. It's had a new head on it. It's still mixing water and oil. There's something wrong with it, so I'm going to scrap it out and we're going to change the engine. I don't know whether that's going to be the next video or not, but for me, I'm probably going to be doing that next week. So like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you guys later. Cheers.